All right, so director's commentary museum. So we're going to go. Oh, there's additional content. You don't say. Welcome to the Bioshock Challenge Rooms. Please note that while this is a Bioshock product, it is not meant to extend the Bioshock story or connect to the narrative events of the main game. This is a separate product intended to be enjoyed on its own merits. We do recommend that you play Bioshock first to gain familiarity. Can't say that word. I know the word. Familiarity with the game's interface and systems. These challenges require a mixture of puzzle-solving, exploration, combat, and experimentation. Each provides a different kind of experience. We hope you enjoy them. The Bioshock Challenge Room team. Okay, so what we might do is we're going to go to the museum and commentaries. We may come back and do this. I don't know if we're going to do it today or not. We'll see. Let's go to the museum. I wanted to do the museum a long time ago. I don't know why. It just seems like it'd be a lot of fun. Welcome to the Museum of Orphaned Concepts. A guided tour of ideas that Irrational Games discarded or reworked heavily during the making of the original Bioshock. This is going to be cool, I think. Okay. Exhibit. Oh, wait. What does it want me to look at here? Exhibit. Hanging sea life. Not as much as a cut concept as an Easter egg for observant museum visitors. These sea creatures can be seen swimming past the player's view during the bathysphere ride down to Rapture in Bioshock's opening sequence. Now, I think most of these we've seen. I'm assuming that's concept art, right? Probably. It popped up and said, there it goes. Very wonky. Forest concept art. Irrational's artists tried to envision how an underwater would actually function in this early conceptual work of Rapture. One idea imagined a thick forest for the purpose of oxygen exchange, seen here, with an observation catwalk running around the edge. The concept of using trees for oxygen exchange made it into the final game in the Arcadia level, which is a very cool level. It would help if you had like a little point in the middle of the screen. We got the Bioshock Gatherer. What the heck is that thing supposed to be? I don't think we ran into those any. It may be hard to imagine that this creature, whose job it was to reclaim Adam from corpses around Rapture, was the earliest iteration of the idea behind the Little Sister. Since the Gatherer generated absolutely no sympathy from players, the team experimented with concepts for featuring a number of animals, including the infamous dog in the wheelchair, and later a grotesque miniature humanoid. Finally, a concept sketch of a deformed child inspired the eureka moment responsible for the Little Sisters. So this was going to be the first Gatherers. Very interesting. Yeah, you would not mind at all if you killed those at all. Got over here, we've got this is really neat. Why do more games not do museums like this? This is awesome. I mean, full models and the drawings and everything. This is the best thing ever. Really cool. Exhibit. Slow Pro Fum. Irrational's internal name for this prototype Big Daddy variant, who mauled players with an enormous hook and fired from bearings from a barrel, stood for slow projectile effed up melee. Really? That's funny. He survived long enough to become a fully functional AI, but the team eventually cut him to focus on polishing the other Big Daddy types. This model later appeared in Bioshock 2 as the Rumbler, throwing miniature turrets instead of cannonballs. Well, I wish it hadn't told me that, but hopefully there's no Bioshock 2 spoilers in here. Early Bouncer. This original model for the Bouncer type of Big Daddy features a flat-headed drill at the end of each arm. The Big Daddies were envisioned as the builders of Rapture, with weapons modified from tools they would have used as in its construction. When the gatherers were reimagined as little sisters, one of the bouncer's drills was changed to a gloved hand so the two characters could interact with each other. Down we go. Exhibit Protector Concept Art. The Big Daddies, originally called Protectors, were envisioned as a dive-suited construction workers retasked with the defense of atom gatherers. They used construction tools or improvised weapons that looked like they had been found on the sea floor. From left to right are early concepts for the melee, ranged, and slow projectile protectors. This also is the same thing, I think. Yep. So we've got like a hook, a rivet, a harpoon gun, and not sure what that's supposed to be. What is this thing? Grenader splicer. Grenader or Grenadier, I think. This gray elephantine splicer was an early Grenader from the same period of development as Stitchy and Hooker. He was a guy who spliced to carry around giant grenades and throw them at you, says lead artist Sean Robertson. The model was built and textured, but never animated. The location depicted here was built for the vision demo of Bioshock, a small level demonstrating several of the key elements of the game, such as the Big Daddies and Gatherers. I love museums in real life. This area appears in the Neptune's Bounty level of Bioshock, but the bodies floating in the ocean were cut late in development when their cast shadows proved too distracting from the action in the room. Wait, what? This area appears in the Neptune's Bounty level of Bioshock, but the bodies floating in the ocean were cut late in development when their cast shadows proved too distracting from the action in the room. Okay. Okay, this is I guess a splicer. Would have been. This is the hooker. Oh, we may be going the wrong way here. Let's start on the other side. We're supposed to like loop around the other way. Ranged aggressor. Ooh, look at that guy. Man, he is. You are a ugly dude. A quick little picture of him if it works. I don't know if it did it or not. Oh, there it goes. I don't know why. Okay. Did it take a picture? I don't know. Maybe it did. Well, whatever. Stitchy. The first splicer that Irrational created for Bioshock. Stitchy was used in many early concept demos and was fully functional in-game with kinematics, hit reactions, and voiceover. It took us that long to realize he wasn't a good model, says lead artist Sean Robertson. This is probably the worst abortion that Irrational has ever made. Got him a shotgun. Look at this guy. These are some of the first concept sketches to show Bioshock's enemies moving in a more human-like direction. Artists coupled that approach with the idea that Adam deformed the body in a way that related to its intended function, for instance, a giant grotesque arm on a melee enemy. Doesn't say really anything about this one, but not sure what he was supposed to be. He definitely looks kind of strange. This guy. Oh, he's got Adam like going straight into his brain. What in the world? This guy's messed up looking. Prey yam hand. Before solidifying the fiction around Adam, Irrational experimented with the idea of it being an external injected substance. Here you can see us playing around with Adam being mechanically injected, says lead artist Sean Robertson. So the splicers got vials of it on his belt. This model was created, but never made it into the game in any form. Very interesting indeed. Moving from grotesque to human was a slow process. While early concepts saw the melee enemies grow monstrous arms, the team had trouble conveying how someone who had spliced to become a marksman would appear. Oh, these are all different. These are early concepts for the Rosie type of Big Daddy, who, like the Bouncer, was envisioned as a construction worker who had been repurposed as a protector for the Gatherers. That one's the same. Hooker. Created around the same time as Stitchy and the Grenadier, its splicer was dubbed the Hooker because of her weapon of choice. This concept evolved into the spider splicer when it was decided that splicer models could fill any behavior role, and the Hooker model later became the Baby Jane splicer. I want to check this over here, make sure these are all different. I mean, all the same. And they are. Okay. Concept. I like the concept art. Oh, there you go. Fleet Hall concept art. This early concept for Sandra Cohen's Fleet Hall was created after level building had begun. When the designers found they were having difficulty conceptualizing the theater space, it was one of the earliest spaces built for Bioshock, and many of the assets used in this museum came from that area. This was the first image that really captured all the visual elements that made Bioshock Bioshock. A large view of the ocean, the aquatic lighting scene, and the elegant Art Deco design elements. Without this image, Bioshock would have been a radically different beast. Look at this guy. Yam Hand model. This character, derisively called Yam Hand around Irrational Games, was the poster child of the conceptual phase that preceded the decision to go with human enemies. I'd point out the drawings behind the model, says lead artist Sean Robertson. You can see the top one got built, but the other two informed the design as well. As we trended more toward humanoids, the Scooby monsters got goofier and less scary. Well, this one, we seen that one down there on the floor. So they at least made a model of two of those. Yeah, see, these looks, I mean, they're kind of scary, but they're also kind of stupid looking. These were some of the earliest pieces done for Bioshock from back when Irrational was still working on SWAT 4. The only concrete ideas that at that point were an undersea city and biological experimentation. The early concepts focused on those themes. Oh, there's some up there too. It's almost like they were doing something kind of similar to like Resident Evil in a way. This is one of several paintings that tried to portray the most important elements of Rapture at once. These images would help define the ruined underwater Art Deco aesthetic that the team was attempting to capture. These were some of the earliest pieces done for Bioshock, blah, blah, blah. We've already read that. Here's one. Early Big Daddy concept art. He's got a squid on his head. Slime from slug. Blood on inside of glass ports. Varnished brass. This was the fourth protector concept. Originally created with an organic slug attached to it. A model was started but never completed as the team narrowed their focus to 3 and finally just 2 Big Daddy types. I still liked this as a protector, says artist Rob Waters. We started modeling and I really pushed to get it in, even as just a static model on the floor, but it never made it. That would have been pretty cool, but it looks so blocky. That's the thing, like, it doesn't look good. Although the model probably would have looked a lot better than the concept art. This character is essentially the missing link between the grotesque early designs and the human splicers that appeared in Bioshock. This is the last bad model we did before moving on to what actually went into the shipping game, says lead artist Sean Robertson. After playing with him for a while, we just said, why don't we use humans instead? I always thought of these as Scooby-Doo monsters because they were too inhuman to invoke empathy. This is a concept sketch depicting what would later become Submarine Bay, an area which housed an important scene for Atlas. Family died, or his fake family. This is an early concept depicting a Big Daddy bursting through a wall, which inspired the audio log in the Big Daddy training grounds area about a rogue Big Daddy. The player then encountered him at the end of the level. I didn't get that audio log. How did I miss that one? I probably missed a lot in that level, actually. I may have to go back there. Alright, so... is that looks like about it. Very interesting. Oh, wait. Hanging sea life, not as much as a cut concept. Okay, yeah, we've already read that. Can't go upstairs, I assume. Pretty cool. I like the museum. I think that's really cool, and I think more games should really do this. Okay. Let's exit the museum. Main menu. I kind of want to go back to